What's going on, guys? I want to welcome you back. Holy 2 months it's been since we've done a tier list on this channel. It turns out if you scream about superheroes for a month and host everything with rivals, you cook your voice more than a well-done Jeff. I don't know why we had to do the acid. Just thought it would add to the dark opening. I swear, I saw a lot of people at the 1 year anniversary, and they're like, hey, it's great to meet you. I watch your tier list. Where the hell are they? And good to meet you too, but I'm back. All right, I'm here at the perfect time as Season 5 had a truckload of changes. Gambit came to the game. The Vanguard strategists all got buffed up, and we're going to rank every hero within this game. And if you're new around here, allow me to show you around. We've got high elo and low elo, two different tier lists today. One obviously for the more beginner side of things, and the other for the shower list. You know, the sweats, the grinds out there in the best of play, because, well, in Marvel Rivals, game sense, skill, and mechanics, they matter a ton, man. I went through the painstaking process of ranking all the heroes twice, so you don't even have to worry about it. And if you enjoy the emotional damage and appreciate it, subscribe down below, trying to get to 150k. Okay, enough yep. Let's hop in. All right, guys, as always, we're going to start from top to bottom, alphabetical order, timestamps down below. We start with Adam Warlock. Now, you guys know, I mean, since a year ago when this game came out, a lot of changes to Adam from triple res to where he is now with his cooldown resets, but one thing has remained the same, and that is you've got to be super efficient with his cooldowns and his skill management. Still, if you're top of the top, if you're Melio, Karova, these kind of, you know, known gods on the Golden God, then he's really good, and, you know, he can borderline one of the better strategists in the game. But because of that skill ceiling and really just the ease of other strategists to utilize, I'm going to put him in A for high elo, and then because all that weight and skill that you need, I'm going to put him way down on, let's go D for low. I won't put him in F, but you don't get really that value that you want out of him in low elo. Much better picks there. You're going to see this a lot with strategists, that the more skill you get, you know, the better they're going to get on the high elo side. And the more skill they require, the lower they are. But yeah, you know, he can flirt with, not really S, but in that top of A category. For high elo, the res is still very good. And I'm telling you, if you learn how to alt fire the correct way, his cooldown reset is pretty damn ridiculous. And now he has Soul Flight, got a little buff there. Karmic Revival is all the much faster in the ult charge, so A tier for Adam. Next up, we have Angela, and this is our newest Vanguard. Wasn't able to rank her because we did not do the last season of tier list, thanks to Ignite. Where does she fall? Well, heaven is falling, honestly, in the high elo, in the S tier. I think Angela, and this might surprise you if you know, wondering what's going on in low elo. We'll get to that in a moment. Angela kind of does it all. I did have a hard time whether or not she goes in A or S tier because of a lot of the meta picks right now, and her counter picks are S tier as well, like Invisible Woman, which, spoiler, but I guess not too much of one. She could do so much for the team and is really coming into her own. Reminds me of like Human Torch, which is buff after buff that it found not only just crazy good play, but the play style is becoming a lot more efficient. We're seeing the pro scene play it, as well as just being able to pick off flanks, displace, and be a constant nuisance. Love Angela. I think she's crazy good this patch. On the other end, I even have a hard time putting her here. I think, dude, she's C tier, maybe in low elo. I mean, I can't tell you how many low elo players I see just running off to who God knows where. The follow-up is not there. The displacement is for nobody but themselves, and they're often feeding. It's just not a great character with the skill use in low elo, and so there are better picks there if you do plan on playing Vanguard, which good luck to you. It's hell out there. So ultimately, S tier, C tier. Next up, we have King of Wakanda, Black Panther. And listen, there's always a case to be made. I saw this Panther do XYZ. It doesn't matter. Black Panther is in a very tough spot. The one tricks, the people that love him still don't even like him right now because everything is going against him. Not only are you just having Vanguards where they are now, everything can answer the tickle monster here in Black Panther. Not going to be great in high elo, not really good in low elo. I guess you could maybe make a case at the top skill level. You could get more use out of him, but I have him in D tier for both. Not F. I do think there are some case scenarios, some that he could be utilized. So he's near the bottom, not at the bottom, both sides. My man, Guang, we got to figure out Black Panther. And honestly, this is the easiest transition ever. They're trying to bring like a team up with him to kind of put a band-aid fix on him. Same with our next hero in Black Widow. Okay, listen, guys, I know they brought a new strategist. It's the sexy thing to say, you know, Black Widow Phoenix is crazy, but there's just not a lot of use for it. I mean, the higher you get, all right, Black Widow does get better in high elo. There's just, why do that when you can do the other things, right? And so Black Widow ultimately, even with the new shiny team up, just like Black Panther, you know, has that I just don't see a reason to put them that high. So I'm going to put Black Widow in D tier for high elo. Want to put her higher, but that's where she's ultimately going to land in what I've seen in the early case scenarios. And then I'm going to go F tier, obviously, for low elo. You should not be playing Black Widow in low elo because you're not getting any use. Maybe you could say the Phoenix team up is better, but even if you're going Black Widow Phoenix, 2 out of your 6 play, it's a bad time there on the low mechanical side of things. So putting her down there towards the bottom of low elo. And that's also because there's just no way to fix this character without buffing her. And if you buff her, you make her too strong. So they gave her the team up. So they've got to figure out both Black Panther and her to rework them in a way that feels authentic to the character and the hero, but they're not, you know, busted in their current design. Next up, guys, we have Blade. And Blade was one of the tougher ones to place as well. I think you can get use out of him. I just think there are other options at the moment. Gambit was able to answer a lot of what he does on the high elo side, and you just ultimately don't end up seeing or utilizing him as much. I do think he's underrated, and I want this opinion to change. All right, if you're the Daywalker yourself over there, drop down in the comments why I should put him higher. I'm gonna have him higher in low elo though, because I think the Moon Knight team up with him is crazy, especially down there, and you still can utilize a lot of what he does well. And Gambit and the way that Gambit is there to cleanse just doesn't happen as often. So I'm gonna put him in B tier for Blade on low elo, C tier for high. I want to say top of C tier, could flirt with the B tier, but ultimately that's where I'm going to have Blade, kind of this situational hero, and you're going to see a lot of other heroes in this tier as situational. Okay, so Bruce Banner. I know a lot of people think Hulk should be H. We're going to go with B for Bruce Banner. Where do we put him? Honestly, I think he's probably, sadly, not a great Vanguard at the moment in a couple of areas. I still think somebody that's cracked at this hero, the best of the best Hulks are the most entertaining to watch, and I still think are in a league of their own, right? You know, you can counter him for sure. I think the bubble with the clap decrease has really helped out. That buff was nice, but in comparison to the other options, once again at Vanguard, you got to go with that for Hulk. Okay, gonna say it, low elo, probably the worst tank in the game. There's just, you don't get the follow-up. The survivability is not there. He just doesn't get to offer anything you want to. The team-up's gone with Namor. Hulk is just not the pick in low elo. In high elo, I've got him in B. Top of B, I think that he's a lot better there. Wanted to put him in A. I respect him. I love when Hulk is competitive, and he's okay. He just doesn't really compare right now to some of the other options. And I'm going to be honest, it's tough to place him in the Vanguards right now. A lot of changes and shifts in the meta, but early telling, this is kind of where he feels like he falls. All right, next Vanguard on the list, Captain America. And hey, guys, listen. All right, we're going to have a conversation about Steve Rogers. I've watched a lot of pro play, right? Some of up there the most in the world because I host, you know, all the Rivals events. Captain America, I think, right next to Hulk, is the hardest hero to master at the highest level. And I think he has the biggest impact. In fact, if you looked at grand finals, I think he was the most important hero in a lot of these comps for so many reasons. However, if you look at pro play, which is not only representing high elo, I think that he is SSS, okay? In high elo, I still think he's very good, but not a lot of people can play him at his top degree. Why is that? Well, you're responsible for everything, right? It requires teamwork. You're going to see heroes today that I place low versus high because of the teamwork that is involved with that hero. Storm is a good example of that. But Captain America, the new ult change is crazy. You can charge Venom's ult in seconds, man. But when you try to put this all together with a team that doesn't have that coordination, or if you don't know when to dive with your Psylocke, or to jump in the backline, or to extend and lead the charge as the first Avenger, or to keep that sustain up, there's so many things you have to track. Not to mention, you have to perfect the animation cancel. If you're not going to learn that, don't even play him in high elo, really, at this case. So I'm going S tier, by the way. He's S tier for sure. I think non-disputed in high elo. Low elo, though, guys, this is, it's just a trash can, man. It's like him before the super serum. You're not able to do any of those things at the right level. The most value you're getting out of him is Captain staying alive. Like, and even then, it's like you could be doing more. I put him in C for Captain America. Not really. I put him in C. I feel like maybe he could even be lower than that. There's just too much responsibility, right? If you're playing Captain, so I have him low in low elo. Next up, we got Cloak and Dagger. This is a very tough hero to rank in this meta because if you look at just the pure kit value, Cloak and Dagger they're a good hero, right? You would think so. But now that we've got the rise of all these strategists, they got a buff to their health. They're not exactly comparing one-to-one with some of the others in the game. Now let's start with low elo. Gonna get some shocks around here. S tier. I think the auto aim, I think how easy the ult is to utilize. I think the entire kit and the auto aim with Cloak is just, it's simplified enough to make it so consistent that this is one of the best heroes you can play at a low elo level. But because of that and all the other options at strategist and skill that comes with that, she falls massively at high elo. I've got her down to B tier, which is crazy. Could have even put her lower. I think she's actually, she's right there as one of the worst strategists right now. I think there's one other that you can maybe guess that's below her because of just comparison to the other strategists at the level. So Cloak and Dagger, if you're in low elo, again, in that kind of, you know, low end of diamond and below, and then go for it. But if you're in high elo, better options, start learning those. Matt Murdock, guys, Daredevil, another hero I did not get to rank, did not get to talk about last season, and my God, I'm excited to talk about him. Daredevil is all sorts of crack, and I think he's probably overall the best hero in this game. It's right there with a couple others. He's so busted, man, for so many reasons. His combo potential, his just reliance by himself of what you can pull off with it just he's crazy, man. You just watch him at any level and you're just laughing. So much so he's so crazy that you don't even have to, like, if you perfect the combos and the exact ability you know, formations or whatever to nail down when to spring to your opponent and resetting the fury the correct way, he's busted. So he's S tier, high elo, no question, top of the S. Low elo though, because he's still super easy, like, you know, I'm not saying he's not hard to play because there's a lot of complexity and the skill ceiling goes way up there, don't get me wrong, but I still think he's easy enough to almost button mash on that you could still put him in A tier, probably low A tier. I wouldn't be playing a lot of Daredevil at low elo, but he's still that good. That's how good his kit is and design altogether. Yeah, I probably want to put him lower in low elo just because of flanking heroes I'm just not crazy with at that level, but he is. That's just how busted the kid is. Dr. Stephen Strange, you know, the Vanguard that got left out of the Vanguard patch. Where do you put him? This is a tough one because I think that there is quite literally so many things now that can counter him as a hero. Invisible Woman and Gambit being the main, you know, final bosses for him at the moment. I'm still all about Strange. I think people that put him below A tier, you just can't. His damage is still reliable. His ultimate, yes, you can counter it, but it still is game winning. And the portal will always be the portal. I have seen people pitch, hey, maybe you put the portal on a 15-second cooldown when you swap to the hero to prevent some of that portaling back to point. But he will always be clutch in that regard. His shield is great. I'm not putting, he's low A. I will say that. By the way, this is at high elo and low elo. He's going to be A tier for both. He's low A, but still very much an A tier hero. He's probably a bit higher A in low elo for what matters, but yeah, I'm still a Doctor Strange fan, man. That's not changing. Now that takes us to Emma Frost, who did not get any buffs with the other Vanguards, and thank God, because she didn't need them. Emma is one of the more reliable counters to Gambit and his ultimate, but on top of that, does just wicked damage as a Vanguard. Crazy damage. Very easy to get a lot of use out of her. Can counter so many heroes with her specifically. Leads the charge. Great solo tank in low elo. Crazy good in high elo. Still has that solid team up with Psylocke, who we'll talk about that demon later. Definitely a very solid Vanguard at the moment. And honestly, it pains me to see. I'll spectate and look at low elo lobbies and she's left open and people still don't play her and they're over there messing around with, like, who knows, man, that a Groot, which you shouldn't probably at that level. Emma is still Emma. Mother's not changing. S tier for both. Oh, I'm about to make a name for myself, and damn it, he did. Holy damn. Hot damn. Gambit is crazy, dude. Gambit is everything you wanted in a strategist put into a package, and here we go. He is such a damn good character, and a fun one at that. The perfect now strategist. It's like, you know, Ultron was too heavy on the duelist side. Now you've got a strategist that feels great as a strategist, and a duelist. People that main duelist can still go over and play Gambit efficiently, and it's hard to not do your job well at a high level. He's got a little bit of everything going on, man, and with his cleanse and his quick heals, his damage output's crazy, and the ultimate is the perfect kind of spice on it all, man. The very appropriate Cajun spice for the Nola King of Thieves. I've got Gambit in S tier for high elo. And I'm going to go with A tier for low elo. I still think there is skill, a lot of it that requires, so to get the most out of him, it's not all the way there for low elo, but I've got him still high up there, and a character you definitely should pick. Gambit in high elo, though, is going to be a ban candidate, and he is no question, you need to be playing him if you're playing at, you know, a pretty high level in this game. There are some pro players, man, that I can't wait to see and to host and to cast these guys because they're going to be freaking demons on this guy. All right, next up, guys, we got the tree, and Groot was tough, okay? First of all, I almost put him in S tier for high elo. He was right there at the very edge. I have him at the top of A, and I think he could sneak into S tier. I'd probably put him in there. I ran out of room a little bit in the top end. Groot is going to be right there because of the unstoppable change, right? Groot with the unstoppable change, combining with already a very good hero in the meta that he's in. I love this tree all around. I still think he is one of the only ones that does his job the right way. He's so hard to get down. Certain maps, he is the quite literal final boss in Marvel Rivals. I like him a lot. So I've got him top of A for high elo. And then I got him, I don't know, where did I even put him in low elo? I put him low, man. I don't even have him on here. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I missed him. My bad. I got him in B tier, okay? Got him in B tier for low elo. Definitely just... and that, I think that's probably low B, you know, still to get the use out of the walls and to make sure you're using them efficiently is definitely something that is not easily learned until you start to get more skill with them. However, that also applies for your enemies, right? So if you put an ironwood wall up and you just master that down, you're unstoppable. And the enemies aren't always the smartest to burn that wall down, so you get more of that. And getting things with your ult, like there are trade-offs for high and low elo, which is why I have him in B and then top of A. Okay, next up, guys, we have Hawkeye, who is, you know, I will see people and players on this game that make this guy look like a hero that I have not seen in Rivals, swear to God. But on the other side of hands, if you miss your shots, you are so worthless. Why are you even playing this game? He is definitely D tier for low elo. Doesn't come close. Could be F tier if I'm being honest. But every once in a while, a broken clock's right twice a day. Whatever the hell the saying is, you know. So Hawkeye can hit the shots in low elo at times. But at high elo, man, he is a tank buster. He can definitely be good in that regard. And I actually think he slept on a bit. Yes, you could charge him, man, and just put him in an uncomfortable situation. But those people that really play Hawkeye to the highest degree and at a good level, I think he's being slept on, man. I think he's B tier for high elo, probably low B tier, but B tier for that. Goddess of Death, Hela. Where do we got her? Listen, we got the Namor team up that's clearly busted, okay? Her crow reset and the way that she works is just perfection. She's the hit scan hero. If you have mechanical aim, she will seem completely busted. You know, if you're coming from another game and you fire up Rivals and you're in that low elo and you play Hela, congratulations, you have a one-way ticket out of low elo. But because of that, I've got her, and I still think she's A tier in low elo just because you're going to hit some shots. Her ult is better in low elo because people are just less aware. And then the team up is the team up. She's S tier in high elo, though. The best pick there at the hit scan position. Still the Goddess of Death to the day. Okay, so Human Torch, I try to place in so many different tiers. And ultimately, guys, I got to put him. I got to put him at the bottom. I'm going to put him at the bottom. And I don't want to put him here because I don't think he needs a lot of buffs right now. As in, I don't want to see Torch rise to the top again. You know, the Flyers had their time. He's going to get some love. But it's crazy. With Invisible Woman being as dominant as she is, you know, Johnny Storm is just anything but a fireman. He has been completely extinguished. I've got him in F tier for both. For both, right? There's just better Flyers in every situation. And there's been enough creeps of nerfs to finally silence him. The hit scan's there completely to get rid of that as well. And he's just not a threat in any case or point. I mean, maybe you could put him in D tier if you want to, you know, you few Johnny Storm mains left. You want to feel good about yourself. But ultimately, you look at the pro scene, high elo, he's not there. He's not played at all. And low elo, just, God, don't play him. I mean, yes, people don't look up as much, but play Iron Man. But that takes us to his sister in Invisible Woman. And I'm telling you, Guang, maybe they lost a bet over there. I don't know, man. I don't know. But Invisible Woman went from insane to what the hell's going on here. The best strategist right there with Gambit and is an absolute great, just... she's so good, man. Sue with the self-shield. Sue with the more damage. The ult. Everything that she does with the push, pull, and managing the game quite literally as a strategist to every sense of the word. If you haven't learned her, you got to put the time in. She's S tier, no question, high elo. Low elo, I've got her in A tier because I do think some of the highest level of benefit that you get from her does take some big brain play from Soup. So, you know, there are going to be things that you don't quite get off, but her survivability, and she's damn near unkillable now, man. If you die more than like 2 times on this hero, like it's a you problem, man. Next up, we move on to Iron Fist. And funny enough, I have these flopped at high and low elo, and I'll tell you why. Really, I still think he takes some skill to master and to play at the right level. And Wolverine has become easier over time in some regards. So him and Wolverine are the tank busters now in Rivals. However, one is doing a lot better than the other, and the heroes that Iron Fist can counter is much more needed right now. I'm telling you, Iron Fist, you got your hero back. I've got him in A tier for high elo pretty confidently. I think the hero's damn good at what he does and his job that he serves. There's going to be weaknesses that he has, but he's great against flyers, man. I love everything about him. You do lose the Luna team up, you know, a bit because, you know, she's not there as much. But on low elo, I've got him in B tier, so a notch under that. To get that full efficiency out of Lin Lee, you got to be, I would say, a bit better of a player. But you'll see how I flop Wolverine to the other side, and that's probably the tank buster that I would play on the lower end of things. But Iron Fist right now, man, Vanguard's worst nightmare. Next up, we got Iron Man, who is just, he's the lawnmower in the sky. Listen, I was talking to the whole Rivals team at Ignite, and I'm like, could you make his ult where he, you know, he goes maximum and he can hold it, you know, kind of look around, and you can still shoot him, and then he can use it. There's nothing maximum about this guy. He's so easy to kill in every situation, and just feels slow, clunky. I've got him in D tier for high elo, and I think that's even showing some respect to Tony Stark. In low elo, at least you can get a lot of burst damage, and people are as good as taking him down, and the ult can get a couple of eliminations to earn you the point. I actually see a use for him in low elo more. I've got him in B tier for that. But yeah, Iron Man just feels bad. Jeff the Baby Landshark. We're just coming out of the S tier meta for a lot of that, and that's because a lot of strategists are rising with it, and just the Animal Crossing backline, as we called it, in the casting role of survivability that you were able to get out of him. Still very good. Top of A for high elo. I've got him in S tier for low elo. I think he's an extremely easy hero to play, if I'm being honest, and it's a lot easier to get the value out of him. I think the skill cap is way up there for Jeff, but to get that value in low elo, I think is there. And I think you can pair him up with just about anybody. He's going to do his job successfully for damage and for healing. The bubbles, maybe you don't get as much use for in the min-max of the ult, but for the most part, with that new Whirlpool, he's just always going to do his job. He's going to cheese a lot of wins, especially on Domination and other maps like Yggdrasil. So I've got Jeff S tier for low. High elo, there's just better picks, but I still think he's very good. Very top of A, if that matters. But overall, I would probably lean towards some other strategists, which we'll get to. Hey guys, next up, we've got Loki, and I'm having a tough time with Loki, because personally, I didn't run out of room in A tier. I'd probably squeeze him at the very end of A tier. I still think he's good, and I think the buffs that were given to him, if I'm being honest, like at the higher skill cap, is really making a difference. Hit your shots, you could get rewarded, and that ult copy is still so clutch. With Gambit now and other reasons, I like Loki and the small changes that have brought him up to speed. You still have to go with some other choices, but those are going to get banned out, right? And when you lose Gambit or Invisible Woman, Loki's a good follow-up. On the other side of things, got him in C tier. He is losing more of that low elo value because of the skill gap and just the other heroes that are easier to play. So C tier for low, B tier for high. All right, Luna Snow. She was dominant the entire year of this game. She's got 20,000 skins in the game, but she's starting to fall down in viability a little bit. I'm going to put her for B tier, I think, for both elos. I think Luna is just not the Luna of yesterday, man. Her ult takes an eternity to charge. Yeah, she's got the snowflake, but there are just better choices most of the time. If you are perfect with the freeze and you can still really get that value there, sure, she can do her thing okay. It's just not, it's not the same. She's taken some nerfs, and that's definitely shown really where she's starting to fall. And then in low elo, you've got to have that mechanical skill that's not always there, and I think that you can just get more value out of what we've already talked about today with, you know, the Jeff, Rocket, which we'll get to, Invisible Woman, and more. So I do have Luna starting to fall just a bit. Now that takes us to Magik, and Magik's just kind of tough because you have Daredevil in the game, right? So what do you do when playing Magik outside of just loving Magik? Just feels like an awkward hero right now. I got situational, I think is the best way to describe her, and because of that, I've got her in C tier for both. I think you can get that value in low elo still and have that rush or whatever. But in high elo, like I couldn't put her higher than Blade. I have her in the same tier as some other, I would call situational heroes. She can be good, but there's just better, you know? Magneto, guys. Are you kidding me, man? Magneto is so, the double bubble is so stupid. I can't even believe it. I love this guy. Magneto is him, and it's that simple. Between his ult, the double bubble, being able to do master of everything. Poke, push, pull, protect, you know, aggression, defensive. You could do it all. I think Magneto is the most fun Vanguard to play personally too. He's kind of boring to some. The dude can do it all. He's an awesome one tank in low elo and the perfect complement in high elo. Not to mention, if you have Gambit, which he's there all the time, the team up is stupid. All right, so Mantis was the instant ban at pro play because of the damage boost that you could give, and you have your best DPS hyper carry. If you have a very good DPS player still and you duo queue, Mantis I think is still a very solid hero. Has kind of gone down a little bit overall in viability. I'm going to put her down because of everyone rising up to the top of A tier for high elo. Low elo, probably B tier. You can still kind of, you know, if you're really good at the game and you feel like you're not the problem, play Mantis because you can self-boost yourself, heal others, and then the ult now makes a lot more sense. If you have Loki on your team, that team up is nasty as well. So Mantis is still doing fine this season. Got her an A and then B accordingly. All right, guys, what's up? Editing Cozy here. So how appropriate for Mr. Fantastic. I did all the heroes and I realized, I looked back and I was like, you know, dude, it's late here. I got my Boston fur candle on and I'm vibing out. Yeah, I left him out. I left out Mr. Fantastic, and that's horrible because he's actually doing a little bit better. You know, we've had him in F tier a couple times in a row. I've even had people come up to me in person. What the hell, Cozy? Stop putting a read in F tier. He's gonna move up. So in high elo, guys, I got him in C tier. I think he even could make a point to get to B tier eventually. I do think the way that his overhealth works and now getting the capability to be healed is definitely going to be a big bonus for him. It doesn't feel as bad in high elo. You know, there's quite literally 20 other options, but hey, he's moving up. Low elo, still going to be S tier and way more at that. Dude, this guy, if you are struggling at low elo and you got one tank or whatever, dedicate yourself to this guy. I'm telling you, people don't know how to kill him. He's unkillable. Unkillable Laffy Taffy down there. S tier and low elo. Okay, back to more happy and awake me. Now that takes us to the hand of Khonshu. Khonshu's blessed servant over here, Jake Mark, Moon Knight. Moon Knight is the easiest lord you'll ever get. The easiest ult charge you're gonna ever get. Got a 5% buff and is absolutely crazy. He's gotten now back-to-back buffs and back-to-back patches. This guy's out of control. I've got him in S tier for high elo or for low elo, no question. Absolutely easy streak. The ult farms more, the damage is easy. They don't bother you as much, and that's really what you got to do is get in a Moon Knight's face. And it's like you can get 30k damage without even trying. You got to play more Moon Knight at low elo. If you're not, he's cracked broken at the moment, in my opinion. Very good. I think one of the best DPS, if I'm being honest, in low elo. High elo, man, I think he's A tier. You know, he used to be like low and high elo, but no, he's way up there now. He's doing much better, and you still have the answer. You know, Psylocke can still ruin his day, Daredevil. But he's got, he lost the Cloak team up, which I'm telling you, I love the Cloud of Protection every now and then. That's gone. Doesn't really matter, though, because he is that much. He's just him, dude. He's still good. Doesn't matter, though. Still is able to produce so much damage for your team. Good against triple Vanguard to get out the gate, and solid in most instances. The perfect definition of like a situational hero that got boosted up to very usable. Namor. Where do we put the King of the Sea? Obviously the Hela team up is very solid. Kind of hard to get points at first, but when you get those points, very good at the defensive position and domination. Obviously the Whale is solid. The Blessings of the Deep is always going to be clutch. His turrets are just easy street. I've got him in S tier for low elo because of that. I still think he offers so much usability at an easy level. Yeah, you got to hit the Tritons, but the turrets do plenty for you. I'm going to go A tier for low. Not quite S. You know, Hela's the one to ban out of that team up. It's still a very solid hero that I think should be used a lot. And we're going to see consistently in pro play as long as that team up exists. It's broken, but that does get banned out a lot of the time. Top of A tier for high. Oh, Peni Parker. Peni is such a tough hero to talk about all the time, right? Because we know where she's going in low elo, but where do we put her in high? That's always the question. Because she's very good at certain maps. Her new webs and the healing is fine. It's good, but the speed you can give like your Vanguards and other heroes, especially on something like Clintar, is awesome. People that have mastered Peni are like my worst effing nightmare. Low elo, it's easy S. Let's continue. That's an obvious. Look at not only the win rate, but just how she performs. If you're not playing Peni on defensive holds and dominations, what are you doing? High elo, I'm going to go B. I want to put her higher. Got to give her a bit more time. I think B is some improvement from what we saw in the past, right? So this is definitely a good start from Peni. Still has kind of her obvious weaknesses, though, on offense and just being, like, exposed to Bucky and even Moon Knight in a lot of ways. So she has her weaknesses, but damn, she can be annoying. Good anti-dive, though. A lot of things coming together for Penny's kit, who's gotten like 100 buffs now. We move on to Phoenix, and Phoenix has always been kind of a tough one to place because, you know, she was obviously God mode broken. What the hell are we doing to, okay, they clipped her fire wings completely. And now we've settled on this pretty good middle ground. Not Hela, but very close. At high elo, I've got her at top of A. I think that she is incredible to utilize for different team-up situations. Her ult is very solid, and just her damage is reliable and consistent and crazy. And then, you got some, got the team-ups going for her now, too. So I think she's solid for the hit scan position. Hela's still better, though. Low elo, the things that make her great, people are going to be more clunched up together, so you have that going for you. But I'm going to have her just a notch below Hela, so B tier. And because, like, the things you want to utilize with her ult, you're not going to get that combo and that team synergy as much. She does counter Rocket, who's on the rise and doing great, so you've got that going, too. Psylocke, oh my god, this hero's so busted. This Psylocke, man, I'm so glad that I just completely one-tricked this hero back in, like, Season 2, and I've just been riding the coattails through all my ranks. She's so stupid. They got rid of her burst damage, whatever, and then her ultimate now is just Super Saiyan busted, man. The Yokai Slayer, S tier easy, I think, for top elo. Handles so many tanks, vanguards, backlines, you name it. The ult, there's just nothing you can really do about it. I love Psylocke, gotta be honest. For low elo, I'm gonna put her like where Daredevil is, in that, like, she's a flanker-ish hero. You should be playing her in the front lines too. You're not gonna get as much use, but man, that Q button, that ult button's even easier at the lower end of things. So Psylocke is just booming right now. Rocket Raccoon. Okay. So they gave him a lot of buffs, clearly. He's definitely was solid in the last patch, got even better now. Where do I put him? Okay, so it's kind of the same as Peni. Cloak and Dagger and Rocket are just such a solid 1-2 in low elo. With how much thought you got to even put into them. I mean, it's easy street for the most part if you're playing those two in low elo with the with the respawn beacon and keeping your distance and not dying. He could do it all. And high elo, man, the Star-Lord team up's awesome. His damage has gotten a lot better. I think it's slept on a bit. And then his healing is so damn consistent. The respawn is going to win you a lot of fights you shouldn't win. And his survivability is top of the list. I'm going to put him very high in A tier. I think towards the top of A tier. Going to lean obviously towards Invis and Gambit and friends, but still a very good hero. Scarlet Witch, the pure chaos queen. Where do we put her? Hey, talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum. And I'm going to stand on this ground. Scarlet Witch, why you see so many times in comments and blah, blah, blah. She's broken. She's trash. She's amazing. She's dog water. It's because she is, kind of, in both. Low elo, queen, man. She's S tier. I think with the strange team-ups, you could just farm those kills. In high elo, it feels like you can't 1v1 anybody in the game. I'm being honest. So, with the ult, you can do some cheeky stuff. That's always good. But quite literally, I think she's in that perfect spot. Kind of like Squirrel Girl. Is she next up? She's close. We'll talk about her in a moment. But it's just like that. We do need heroes that are good in low elo and bad in high. It's just going to happen naturally with the kit design, and that's how Scarlet is. Next up, we have Spider-Man. Peni Parker did get some buffs, and the problem with him is he's ultimately situational, and, you got to go all in. You're going to either get the web pull-offs and be quite literally the, like, holy hell, what's going on here? Lord Spider-Man, oh my god, to great, we've got a Lord Spider-Man, and this guy's not going to get any value from the hero. We don't see him in pro play. He's just, there's other options to go with, and it saddens me. Maybe he can be bumped up to B in high elo, but because he's all in or all out, that's why I got him in C for both. So Squirrel Girl, guys, is exactly what I just said. It's F tier for high elo, and I'm going to go A tier for low. You can spam the damage. You can get crazy consistency in that low elo that you don't get in high elo. In high elo, you used to be able to use her in triple Vanguard, or to go against triple Vanguard to get out the gate and whatnot. But there's better options for that right now. And man, I tell you what, when I see a squirrel on the other team, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, we're good to go. You do one Psylocke and a couple pop, primary, secondaries. The squirrels are dead. I can tell you that confidently. And again, I think that's okay. And that's where she's kind of going to fall ultimately in Rivals. Legendary! Mr. Star-Lord, Peter Quill. Man, I love this guy. If you haven't picked him up, start playing him. Very good. The Rocket team up solid. Him with Gambit, because of how it procs on instance of damage, is so crazy, let me tell you. I'm going to go with S tier. And maybe this is controversial, but I think not only in pro play, top play, he's one of the more impactful heroes, but he's so slippery, very consistent damage. Can he handle a lot of things coming at him in different ways and isn't worried about Groot walls and flankers and Daredevil even on you at times. I like Star-Lord and everything about him, and his ult's busted. And because of that, I got him in A tier for low elo. Yeah, you don't get as much use out of him, and he is a flanking hero, so you don't get that full oomph factor in the high elo down there, but he still pops off, man. He's got the auto barrage and the auto aim in the ult. I got him in A tier. So Storm is one of those heroes that as like a caster and a host at the top level of play, I think it'd be an easy like, oh, this is a top end hero, no question. Nobody plays like pros do, so we can't even look at that. They boosted and buffed her, awesome, but they buffed her team viability. And there's one thing about a hero shooter, you don't got a lot of teamwork, all right? Especially in low elo. Storm, unfortunately, just requires a lot of communication, and she can be very good. And I think pro players would rank her high, but the rest of high elo, I got her in B tier to show some respect in high elo, and I've got her down in C tier for low. You're just not going to get that value out of her. The damage boost is nice, but yeah, Storm just feels weird. Jeff Nato, though, is underrated in my opinion. The Punisher. Okay, Frank Castle, Groot on the rise. Good counter to that. He's solid with Gambit, but he does get his crap rocked, man, by a lot of the top DPS picks. He's kind of easy to counter in a lot of ways. Magneto's busted right now, obviously. So I'm going to go ultimately with B tier probably for low elo and A tier for high. He's a bit harder to counter at low elo and can kind of damage spam. He still has that going for him. He lost that damage, although it was made up a little bit in some areas. Ultimately, though, I think Frank Castle, this isn't exactly his perfect season. The Thing is a tough one because I really liked what they did with his kit and his design, and he's doing a lot more now, but he doesn't really answer any problems that other Vanguards can just do better. And I think maybe he will kind of age like maybe a fine wine, maybe milk. We'll have to see. But right now, I've got him in B tier for both. I feel like he's in a bit of an awkward situation in the Vanguard pool and is one of the worst Vanguards, honestly, at the moment. And that's unfortunate because I think he is okay, but it just doesn't really... It doesn't work as well. I don't see a lot in high elo. Low elo, you kind of have to have that support and push with you, which you don't get often. So I'm going to have him in B tier for both. This could change. The God of Thunder, man. The God of Forgotten. I mean, they just straight up, they don't give a damn over there at NetEase about this guy. They try to at times, right? Here's a buff. Here's this. Here's that. We did it. And then they take a season off. It's just crazy that so many people got buffs and then Thor was left behind in high elo. I still think he's an absolute bully in low elo. I'm still going to keep him in S tier, and I think that's going to blow people's mind. This guy is very hard to deal with and not that hard to utilize. Because of the buffs he did get recently, you're able to just be an awakened bot at times, and that's not good news for low elo. Truly the bully down there, but in high elo, he's D tier. He's way too easy to counter. Unless he can start summoning his ult from afar, there's a lot they got to do with him. But yeah, unfortunately, Thor was left behind. Ultron. Really, the easiest thing is like, why play him when you could play other heroes? He could be okay in triple strategist, but then in like low elo, if you have someone playing Ultron, odds are you're screwed. Let's be honest. I'm not a fan. Unfortunately, like Thor, like everybody, got the memo. Hey, we're getting buffed this season, and then somebody at the meeting was like, oh damn, we forgot somebody. Now we got everybody here, and Ultron's just, at the bottom of the water drowning. So, unfortunately, Ultron is going to be C tier for high elo. Still can make use of him in, like, high elo triple strat, but not crazy. And then low elo, because of all that combined, plus you have to be good at, a duelist role in some way and aim. I got him down in D. Venom. Talk about a hard hero to place, because I had him in S, because I still think he is that important to dive and that role that he plays. But ultimately... I'm going to settle at top of A tier for high elo. For low elo, we're going to put him down in B. He's very easy to play and still get the use out of him. Even though I'm not crazy about these engage, disengage pressure-wise for the symbiote there at low elo because you don't get the help and you often die and feed. But I think that he's right there, man, in high elo. The anti-heal is cleansable. He gets burst down very easy now by the likes of people like Psylocke. And so he's fallen off maybe a little bit, but still, I think the symbiote is a damn good hero. Or villain. Last two guys, we have Winter Soldier. Bucky Barnes, I think people they always forget that he's like uncounterable. This is probably my biggest, like, I don't know, cook. Maybe it's not. I still think he's at the top of the elite for high elo. I think that if you look at how pros play him and how just good players play him in general, he answers dive perfectly. Yes, you can cleanse his Kraken now with Gambit. I don't really care. Just play around it. The claw, the hook, the anti-fly, the consistent damage, and the like me mentality, the I'm him, the snowball effect that he has. I still think Bucky's one of the best in the game in high elo. Low elo, let's go B tier. Probably, you know, that skill gap is going to go down a bit, but he still has major impact, and you're going to get more use out of him in a lot of scenarios. So, yeah, overall, still not the worst pick down there, but not as good as a lot of other options. And then Wolverine, okay? So Wolverine is crazy because I thought he was fully back, and the more I've played, he's kind of back, right? Like, so I got him swapped with Iron Fist on either side. In low elo, I think Wolverine is probably going to be low end of A tier. I think he does offer that damage boost. Is going to be pretty good. And all the ways to counter him isn't used as much, right? Invisible Woman being a good counter. Emma, Magneto. These things you just don't get as much in low elo. So he's probably better there. High elo, it kind of paid me to put him down here, but I have him top of B. Iron Fist is going to be better in most situations. I think that Wolverine can get great value. But a lot of times I see the Wolf on my team and I kind of sigh, man. Like, there's just other options I would rather have, especially with Iron Fist being that Vanguard player. The double bubble makes life hell for him. All the Vanguard buffs that came with his buff is what really kind of screwed him. So there you guys go. There's the timestamp. What's up, guys who skipped everything? I hate you. By the way, the least you could do is subscribe down below for the next one. But we've got every hero ranked in Marvel Rivals Season 5, and it's still early on. This is bound to change, and we will get more out there. But let me know what you agree with, what you hate, what you love. But this is where I think things are settling at the moment, and I would love to hear your opinions down below, guys. Either way, appreciate you stopping by. Good luck out there in your placements, your matches, all that good stuff. I wish you good elo and teammates that don't suck and drop out for no reason, and awful comms with it. Have a good one. Have a great one. To the next one. Happy rifle.